Heyo, I'm Jake Paul from Bizarre Vark, and you're watching Disney Channel. Oh, no looker, first ever. Oh, nailed it!
Jake Paul is terrible for boxing and he's a nuisance to all combat sports. In this video, I'm going to be hating on Jake and matchmaking him against actually good competition. Boxing and MMA, we need to unite and body this motherfucker once and for all. I was gaslit with the Anderson Silva fight and Guru's takes, but really he's just a mid-fighter. He would not be a fighter if he didn't have money, and he wouldn't have gotten this far in his career either. I'm not saying you can't grow up rich and be a good fighter. Look at the Gracies, Izzy, Sage Northcutt. In boxing, Billy Joe Saunders, Ken Norton, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., Nico Ali Walsh, Chavez Jr., etc., etc. But in my opinion, boxing was created as a poor man's sport. Fighters like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Joe Louis, Ali, Jack Dempsey, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, people that came from the struggle, that's the type of fighters that I gravitate towards. People only fight Jake Paul because he's popular, not because he's a formidable fighter that has great skills. He has no aura. In my opinion, he's a con artist, he's a fraud, he's a grifter, and he's a big fat phony, and a wannabe professional. He's never expressed any interest in wanting to box in the Olympics until this year, and he didn't say that he'd box in this past Olympics that just happened this year, 2024, but in 2028. And if he actually did do this, it would make him more likable representing USA and fighting real competition from across the world. But he's never fought any other upcoming prospect or an undefeated pro in his whole career. He's only fought 3 pure boxers on his record, one of them being Love Island Tommy Fury, which he lost in a split decision. Another one is Ryan Borland, one of his more recent fights, and this guy came out of retirement in 2018 for this fight, and Jake Paul won that. And then Andre August, he has 3 decision wins and 2 TKO losses. Who are these guys? Like, with all due respect, who are these guys that Jake is fighting? You know what I'm saying? I also think he's roided. That's probably why he didn't fight in the 2024 Olympics. And this guy's playing a rich man's game. Average, everyday fighters don't have the time or money to spend on nutritionalists like Jake, strength and conditioning coaches, multiple coaches, transportation, food, recovery methods, commercial level promos. This guy has paid his way into boxing through YouTube, plus his Disney's work, his music that he put on YouTube, other sponsors. It's all multiplied by boxing. Plus, the PFL also sponsors him. It's all in his favor. He only ever fights smaller opponents too, it feels like. Nate Diaz was a 150 to 170 fighter, weight class fighter. Tyrone Woodley, he fought at 170. And he just recently called out Paddy Pimblett, and he's a 155er, and his MMA base is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, he doesn't call out pure strikers. I'll give him, he called out Pereira. Pereira is a little bit older, but he's in his prime. But Pereira and Dana, I don't think that ever happened. But either way, Pereira bodies him. I'm going to bring that up later, though. This guy does everything possible to give himself any advantage, and he never risks anything or put anything on the line. In my opinion, his weaknesses, he lacks fundamentals. He doesn't have good footwork. He doesn't have crazy combos, no feints, no special combos. He just throws a 1 and an overhand. In the O'Malley commercial where they were in the rafts in the ocean and the shark came or whatever, he was saying that he has bad knees, so that's a weakness for sure. I don't think he has high fight IQ, and I don't think he has adaptability to make mid-fight adjustments. So I don't know. I just really don't rate Jake. He's so mid. His haircut's whack. His clothes whack. His record's whack. His aura's whack. Everything about him is whack. And my prediction is that he has an O'Malley type of loss where he's almost quote-unquote fraud checked, as everyone likes to say these days, where he gets exposed for having major flaws. O'Malley didn't get fraud checked, by the way, but maybe you could say that because his wrestling weakness. But either way, he went against Merab, one of the best wrestlers in the division, so Yeah, I kind of hate the term fraud check and how that's thrown around, but Jake needs it. Jake needs to be fraud check because he's a real fucking fraud. His last 2 fights, he fought at 200 and 190. So I think he's finally going to pick a weight class because he steadily moves up. And I think the higher up you go, like usually it's lower skilled competition, but they hit a lot harder. There's a lot harder hitting fighters the higher up you go. But my question is, who will stop the Disney kid from Mickey Mousing his way to the belt? How many more legends are we going to let this guy take before we finally stand up? For me, 2 is too many. And this fight is garbage that he's about to take against Mike. It's just a big money ploy, especially with Netflix being involved. Like, come on, man. But with all that being said, these are UFC fighters that I think would beat Jake right now. At 170, JDM. JDM would piece up Jake so bad. His boxing's real crisp. He has good head movement. He's tall, good combos. I think he just pieces up Jake. And he's got a good chin as well. And if he moved up to 185, these are all just make-up fun matches. I don't even think Dana would let any of this happen, but it's all just for fun, you know. Also, Joaquin Buckley. I think Joaquin Buckley, with his bob and weave kind of like Mike, and he's real young too, I think he'd piece up Jake real bad with his boxing and his movement defensively. Also, MVP, Michael Venom Page, I think he'd piece up Jake. He did really good against Mike Perry in his bare knuckle bout. I mean, look at him now too in the UFC. It's almost like he's in another prime despite being so old. Or not so old, he's really not that old, but he's looking good out there. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. But also, let's go to 180. Let me drink some water. All right, 180. Starting it off. My first pick is Israel Adesanya. I think he beat the shit out of Jake Paul. I know he got kind of exposed by Strickland, but in his last fight against Dricus du Plessis, his boxing was so good. Like, he was on another level. You could kind of argue with his boxing, he was kind of winning some of the rounds and maybe even winning the fight. But even though he lost or whatever, I'm not an Izzy fan. I was so happy to see Dricus win. But either way, he looked really good with the boxing out there. I think he'd beat up Jake real bad. He's got decent head movement too. It'd be a fun fight with the trash talk. It will actually be pretty cringe, but it'd be funny. You know what I mean? But moving on, Sean Strickland. Here's the thing, you guys. Sean Strickland. You put Sean Strickland in the cage with, in the ring with Jake Paul. Sean's beating the shit out of Jake. Sean is doing Jake like how he did Sneeko. I just think his defense would be way too good for Jake to handle. And he'd just be jab two-ing his way into there and beating Jake up, you know? I think he gets it done. Also, Dricus du Plessis with his marauder, goofy goober type of style, he'd move his way in, he'd take all of Jake's shots, and then he'd club Jake badly. He'd beat up Jake really bad. He'd take all his shots and win. Let's move up to 205. Alex Pereira. I was bringing up Alex earlier. Glory kickboxing champion, UFC 2-time champion. This guy absolutely demolishes Jake Paul. No questions asked, in my opinion. Jake has no chance against Alex at all. At all. I don't even know why he called him out. Only probably because he's popular, right? But I don't know. Alex would body him so bad. Khalil Roundtree, I also think just because of how good he did against Alex recently, he'd do really good against Jake. And I think he sleeps Jake. Jan Blachowicz. I think Jan also beats Jake just because he's so durable and he's got good defense, you know what I mean? Even though he's older as well, that grandpa actually gives Jake a run for his money. Also, people forget, man, he beat Izzy. And when he was trying to make his double champ run. And, yeah, I just think he beats up Jake badly. He's got really technical, clean boxing. Yeah, really good. Jan beats the shit out of him. Also, Ankalaev, I think smokes Jake badly with his 1-2 stepping through. He'd body Jake real bad, and he's durable as well in my opinion. He's never been knocked out. He's only ever been submitted, and it's a boxing match obviously because Jake only ever does boxing. Yeah, I think Ankalaev takes that easily. Yuri Prohashka, I also think Yuri takes that fight easily, just because he's got good durability and his ability to just throw weird combinations and put punches together. I think he beats the shit out of Jake too. I was going to put Alexander Rakic in here, but in his last fight, he looked kind of weird. Now that I will say that's kind of on his coaches, because he did do good against Yuri. He was piecing up Yuri real bad, but I think Jake actually could possibly sleep Rakic. But that would be a fun fight. I don't know, but I don't want to see that. Moving up to heavyweight, though, because Jake's fighting at heavyweight. Tom Aspinall, no questions asked. Tom Aspinall sleeps Jake badly. I don't even think we got to go into it that much. I know Tom kind of gets touched up in the beginning and things like that, but he's never been like badly finished except when he got injured against Curtis Blades. But yeah, Jake has no chance against Tommy at all. He's not doing shit to Tommy. Alexander Volkov, I think this would be a fun match. Classic like America versus Russia match. He's real tall, but I think Volkov pieces up Jake, working the outside, working his movement, and just being the slicker fighter against Jake, because Jake's not a real fucking boxer. Sergey Pavlovich. I think Sergey, if he just stays calm and works his boxing and puts together combinations, easily pieces up Jake, wins, beats the shit out of him, sleeps him, gets it done. Also, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, I think he takes Jake to like unanimous decision. I think he could beat up Jake too. But like I was saying, probably none of these matches ever happen because Dana doesn't want that to happen. And I kind of don't blame him in a way, because Jake offers nothing with his record at all. And he's just ruining it, man. He's just ruining it. Actual boxers, though, and heavyweight. Obviously, Usyk and Tyson, they'll body Jake. Especially if Tyson Fury locks in. Like, there's no chance for Jake at all. I'm saying this like this would actually happen. But Jake's talking about how he wants to fight for a belt, but I don't think he has the skills to make it at all. Andy Ruiz, I think that's another fighter that would also demolish Jake. He's way too big. His punches are way too powerful. Putting together combos and things like that. I also think he looks actually in somewhat better shape now too. Yeah, I think Andy Ruiz beats him up badly. Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois also beats up Jake real bad. I know he just got a real good KO. I forget who he knocked out, though. But Daniel Dubois. Oh, Anthony Joshua. That's who he knocked out. God, I'm so sorry. But, yeah, he'd beat the shit out of Jake. But he's too accomplished as well for Jake. Jarrell Miller, he's another fighter that I think bodies Jake. He went to a draw with Andy Ruiz, and he only has one knockout loss, which is to Daniel Dubois. That's another good fight. And another fighter that bodied Jake. Martin Bakole, he KO'd Jared Anderson. He's real slick on the feet and puts together good combinations. I feel like I keep saying this, but I feel like that's the key to putting Jake away, is just standing and banging with him, and or really you could do it either way. You could be a good mover too and body Jake, I think, if you're a good stick and move type of fighter. Bakadir Jalalov, I think this guy absolutely demolishes Jake. He's 6'7", 14-0, so they're kind of close in records, but all this guy's finishes are knockout wins. This dude absolutely destroys Jake. He has no chance against this guy. He doesn't have the record to compete with him either. And I would just love to see this guy absolutely dog walk Jake. Also, Hrgovic, he's 17-0. He has 14 knockouts. He's very technical. powerful and he defeated Zhang, that'd also be a good person that'd destroy Jake, you know what I mean? Also at 200, obviously Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, Anthony Yard with his explosive power, athleticism. All these guys have power and they're athletic, but especially Beterbiev. I think he'd absolutely do Jake dirty as hell. Joe Smith Jr. This guy has good defense and good power. I think he'd do good against Jake, and he'd beat the shit out of Jake too. That'd be a good fight Jake could probably try to get to if he took a couple other like prospect type matches against undefeated pros or something like this and work his way up. Also, Callum Smith Jr., he's real technical. He's got powerful body shots, good fight IQ. I think he does great against Jake, beats the shit out of him too. Also, Fundora, he's real tall. He throws volume. He's a good infighter. I'd love to see just him piecing up Jake, working in body shots, and just putting on a clinic against him. All these guys, I think, would put a clinic on against Jake. Also, at 170, why not? Terrence Crawford, of course. I think if he moved up, he'd also defeat Jake, of course. I'm saying this like Jake is the problem in the ring. He's not. But that's the narrative he's created, and that's part of the problem with Jake. Also, David Benavidez, I think, defeats Jake handily, too. That's slight work for him. I think he just moved up to light heavyweight, too. If Jake had to fight David Benavidez, Terrence Crawford, any of these guys I just mentioned, he's getting bodied. At the end of the day, Jake Paul does not care about boxing. He does not care about facing the best competition, testing his skills, and putting it all out on the line. He would never fight in an MMA bout against a real competitive fight, and that's why he signed to PFL. He said he wanted to make boxing great again, but what has he ever done for boxing besides cause controversy and tear down legends from the UFC like Anderson Silva, and now boxing with Mike Tyson, respectively? In this fight, I'm going to pick Mike Tyson, even though he's probably going to lose. At the end of the day, though, no one wins, because if Jake wins, especially by KO, no one's going to like him any more or less than before, especially because Mike is washed now. He's older, and Jake isn't a fun villain. He's not like Floyd Mayweather or Ilia Topuria. And if Mike wins, Jake lost to a grandpa in a match that shouldn't even be sanctioned. So what will it take for Jake to finally face real opposition and legitimize his career? Who will stop the Disney kid from Mickey Mouse and his way to the belt? If you guys like this video, let me know. Leave a like and comment. Be sure to check out my other video, The Worst Haircuts in the UFC. And also check out some of my shorts and reels. And I just appreciate you guys for watching and tuning in. And I hope you have a blessed one. Thank you so much.